My name's Amanda, a 28-year-old married to Tom for 2 years now. We met back in university and hit it off right away. Unlike most, I opted out of the 9-to-5 grind post-graduation, diving into the world of stocks and foreign exchange trading instead. It's been a lucrative journey, though my folks keep nudging me toward a more stable career path. Thankfully, Tom gets it. He's my rock, always by my side since our college days. Socializing isn't my forte, but with Tom, I can be myself. Family dynamics? Well, mine's a bit distant. They see me as the odd one out, so our get-togethers are fewer these days. Tom's side, on the other hand, is closer-knit, parents and an older brother, Jeff. During our visit to Tom's family to share our wedding news, it bombarded me with questions about my career. Every time, Tom was quick to defend me. Amanda's pursuing her passion, and that's what counts. Jeff, in particular, seemed fixated on my job, probing incessantly. His persistence grated on my nerves, and I finally snapped with a casual remark. I dabble in part-time work. Jeff's smug chuckle followed as he retorted, should have led with that. Job stability's a luxury these days, you know. Jeff's patronizing demeanor grated on my nerves, but I brushed it off. After all, I wasn't marrying him. Tom's constant apologies were enough for me. His support meant the world. Despite Jeff's relentless belittling, it was ironic considering his position as an associate professor at a university. I couldn't help but feel sorry for his students. Now, Jeff was gearing up for his own wedding, and Tom and I were on the guest list. The bride-to-be happened to be the daughter of Jeff's university president. The event boasted a sizable guest list. Marrying into such a prestigious family undoubtedly secured Jeff's future. His arrogance reached new heights as he taunted me once more at the wedding. Having a part-timer as a sister-in-law is embarrassing. No wonder your name's missing from the directory. Perplexed, I glanced at the wedding directory to find my name conspicuously absent. Tom was ready to confront Jeff, but I waved him off. It's fine, Tom. I couldn't care less about formalities, I assured him, diffusing the tension. Jeff's smirk widened as he fired back, exactly, best to stay in the shadows, especially on a day like this. His next directive was even more demeaning. He instructed us not to serve drinks, fearing the inevitable question about my occupation. It would be inconvenient if you had to admit to being a part-timer when guests inquire. Just keep quiet, he declared triumphantly before striding off, leaving us seething. Tom, still seething, struggled to contain his anger. I'm truly sorry for my brother's appalling behavior. Tom's apology was sincere, his eyes betraying a hint of guilt. Unexpectedly, I found myself apologizing as well. I should be the one apologizing. I never intended for you to bear the brunt of his rudeness. My apology seemed to ease Tom's distress, finally coaxing a smile from him. On the day of the wedding, neither of us felt inclined to celebrate Jeff and his new wife. Taking Jeff's advice, we opted to indulge in the lavish spread instead. True to the stature of a university president's daughter's wedding, the food was exquisite, and we savored every bite. The gifts, heavy with anticipation, hinted at opulence. However, our excitement was deflated when we unwrapped a box at home to find a bowl adorned with a portrait of Jeff and his wife. Even Tom, usually patient as the younger brother, couldn't hide his exasperation. This is the last thing we need. I'd rather not have a constant reminder of my brother's face, but we can't just toss it, and it's hardly useful. Yet I saw an immediate solution. The bowl was just the right size and depth for a cat's dish. What if we repurpose it for the cat's food? Would that be disrespectful to your brother? I asked. Tom burst into laughter. It's absolutely perfect for the cat. The thought of my brother and his wife being licked by our feline friend every day is oddly satisfying. With Tom's blessing, the gift bowl found its new purpose as our cat's designated dish. A month down the line, I found myself needing to make several visits to the university where Jeff now held a position. The thought of encountering him, particularly since he'd married into the university's upper echelons, filled me with dread. Yet I reasoned I'd be safe enough. The campus was vast, and my business lay in a separate department from his. However, luck was not on my side. Merely setting foot on campus, I collided with Jeff. His expression shifted from surprise to hostility upon spotting me. Hastily, I averted my gaze, hoping to slip by unnoticed. But Jeff had other plans. He stormed over, accusing, "What are you doing here?" "Ah, you arrested for trespassing." Jeff's booming voice attracted a swarm of curious students. In their presence, he launched into a tirade, mocking me openly. What's someone like you doing here? Scavenging for a free meal in the cafeteria. My shyness kept me silent, fueling Jeff's amusement. He turned to the eager audience of students, regaling them with tales of my supposed inadequacies. This woman, a perpetual part-timer, even with a college degree. Study hard, kids, or you'll end up like her. As laughter rippled through the crowd, I felt the sting of humiliation, on the verge of tears. Suddenly, a familiar voice cut through Jeff's ridicule from behind. I turned to find a reassuring sight. A professor I recognized. What's going on here? She's my guest, invited by my brother-in-law, he interjected. Jeff faltered momentarily, but quickly rebounded. Must be some mistake. She's just a part-timer, he insisted. However, another professor, arriving late to the scene and acquainted with me, set the record straight. No, she's not a part-timer. She's a research collaborator in the economics department. Despite the other professor's clarification, Jeff remained skeptical. His marriage into the university's upper echelon seemed to have inflated his ego, leading him to disregard even the senior faculty. Recognizing the futility of reasoning with Jeff, the professor who had invited me intervened, taking my hand and guiding me away from the confrontation. As we departed, the students scattered, sensing the tension. However, Jeff's irritation was palpable. He trailed after us, abruptly barging into the room. Despite the presence of numerous senior professors in the room, Jeff persisted in his derision. What's all this about? She's just a part-timer, isn't she? Clueless girl, stay out of the university's way, he sneered. His offensive remarks sent a ripple of discomfort through the senior faculty present. One of them hurriedly escorted Jeff out of the room, but not before he muttered a threat to Tom. Your career is toast. Unfazed by the consequences, Jeff seemed emboldened, secure in his alliance with the university president. However, the president himself entered the room at that moment. Without hesitation, he offered me a sincere apology. I offer my sincerest apologies. Our associate professor's conduct was entirely inappropriate. Please accept my apologies on his behalf, the president expressed, his tone contrite. The other professors echoed his sentiments, expressing regret for the incident. I graciously accepted their apologies, though inside, fury simmered close to boiling over. Yet I maintained a composed exterior, a testament to my maturity. My encounter with the president that day was unexpected. I had been at the university conducting research with the economics department on financial engineering. This research involved validating the theories I utilized in my stock and forex investments. Ever since my university days, I've employed these theories in my financial endeavors, exchanging insights with a professor I connected with through social media. Recognizing the success of my investment strategies, the professor invited me to collaborate on research at the university. While the university had suggested I take on a lecture role multiple times, my discomfort with public speaking made it unfeasible. However, the research collaboration offered mutual benefits, prompting me to visit the university several times a month to validate our findings. It wasn't until Jeff's marriage that I realized we were at the same university. Glancing through the wedding guest list, I recognized the name, the bride's father, who happened to be the university president. Despite the presence of other university-affiliated guests, I went unnoticed, my name erased from the list, and I was instructed not to serve drinks, confining me to my seat for the duration of the event. Given the grandeur of the wedding, it was no surprise that someone as unassuming as me went unnoticed. However, the reason for the president and professor's panic lay in my status as a significant benefactor of the university. Ever since I began collaborating on research, my investment performance had soared, prompting substantial annual donations. Moreover, the theories I delved into were gaining traction among hedge funds and international investors, further bolstering the university's coffers through donations. For a private university like ours, such financial support is indispensable. Any discord with me could spell disaster. My ire, provoked by Jeff's insolence, might lead to the termination of our research collaboration and subsequent donations, jeopardizing the university's operations significantly. The day's agenda veered away from investment theory discussions. Instead, it was a flurry of apologies from the president and professors, though no resolution was reached. Before departing, I sought a private moment with the president. Did you know that your sister-in-law, the associate professor from earlier, is my brother-in-law, Jeff? I revealed to the president and professors, eliciting surprise from the gathered group. It seemed none had made the connection before. Emboldened by the moment, I decided to share my candid thoughts. Jeff's constant mockery of me raises doubts about his suitability as an educator, I asserted, my frustration evident. It was a rare display of passion from me, given my usual nerves in such situations. Reflecting on it later, I felt a tinge of embarrassment mixed with admiration for my unexpected outburst. Following my departure, it appeared that Jeff's behavior became a subject of concern within the university. His persistent arrogance toward his superiors, even after marrying the president's daughter, had garnered criticism. Moreover, his reputation among students was tarnished. His appointment as associate professor seemed to be a matter of nepotism, linked to his relationship with the president's daughter, inviting further scrutiny. The president, in defending his sister-in-law, inadvertently drew censure upon himself, risking his own position as head of the university. Unaware of the president's disapproval, Jeff's arrogance only seemed to swell. Ignorant of the critique from his most influential supporter, he continued his derisive behavior, targeting me once more upon my return to the university. Back for more, huh? Still playing the part-timer card? Just because you're cozy with the economics professors doesn't give you license to act all high and mighty, Jeff jeered, his words dripping with disdain. It was a bitter pill to swallow, knowing that such rudeness came from an associate professor. The more I endured Jeff's mockery at the university, the more disillusioned I became with its leadership. The president's reluctance to reprimand his own brother-in-law for his arrogance made me question the university's standards. Contemplating ending our joint research became a serious consideration. Each visit to the university felt increasingly futile, with Jeff's taunts adding insult to injury. I found myself tuning out his derision, pondering the merits of discontinuing our collaboration. Lost in my thoughts, I barely registered Jeff's latest jibe until his voice boomed louder than ever. Hey, are you even listening? Or are you too dim-witted to follow a simple conversation? But before I could respond, a commanding voice cut through the air. Jeff, you are the fool, the president's voice thundered, echoing through the room. The president's arrival cast a hush over even the usually brash Jeff, freezing him in place like a statue. Witnessing his rare moment of stillness, I could have contained my laughter, bursting into a chuckle. Jeff's glare was swift, but it was swiftly extinguished by the president's cutting words. As of today, you are no longer affiliated with this university. Gather your things and leave immediately. Jeff seemed momentarily befuddled, his gaze fixed on the president's stern expression. Then, in a bizarre turn, he adopted a casual tone. Father-in-law, what's with the sudden theatrics? Are you trying to pull a fast one on me? The president's face flushed crimson with rage as he bellowed once more. You have no right to address me as your father-in-law. Furthermore, I demand you divorce my daughter. The mention of divorce caught me off guard, but before I could process it, a young woman and a man in formal attire entered the room. As my eyes met the woman's, a sense of familiarity washed over me. Glancing at Jeff, I noticed his stunned expression. It dawned on me, the woman standing before us was Jeff's wife. Yet her unexpected appearance left me puzzled as to why she had come. With a stern countenance, Jeff's wife began to speak deliberately. I noticed your odd behavior, so I had a lawyer investigate. They managed to obtain these photos. As she spoke, the man in the suit produced several photographs from a bag, displaying them before Jeff. Peering over Jeff's shoulder, I couldn't help but gasp at the sight of him arm in arm with an unfamiliar woman. Jeff appeared taken aback, mirroring my own astonishment. I understood why the president had mentioned divorce, yet I felt it was an uncomfortable subject for discussion in the midst of the university, especially with me present. Nevertheless, Jeff's wife pressed on, addressing Jeff with palpable disdain. That's divorce, just as Dad mentioned. You were merely using me, weren't you? You never truly loved me. The unfolding drama had my heart racing, but witnessing Jeff's tearful countenance on the verge of breaking down brought a sense of satisfaction. Furthermore, as Jeff's wife announced her intention to pursue property division, Jeff began to offer apologies in a panicked frenzy. I won't betray you again. Please forgive me. Observing Jeff's distress was oddly gratifying, almost tempting me to capture the moment to share with my husband. Perhaps the president had summoned me here today to witness Jeff's comeuppance. Despite Jeff's pleas, his wife remained resolute, informing him that she had already retained legal counsel. The swift progression of events caught me off guard, and as I observed Jeff's bewildered state, I sensed his mounting frustration turning towards me. What are you staring at? You're just a part-timer. This doesn't concern you. Leave, he snapped, his voice laced with venom. It was then that the president intervened on my behalf. You always belittle Amanda for being a part-timer, but she's a skilled investor. She's actively engaged in joint research with the economics department and makes generous donations. She's far more valuable than you'll ever be, the president declared, his words carrying weight. At last, Jeff seemed to absorb the president's words, falling silent as he cast a glance in my direction. Sensing the opportune moment, I decided to confront my brother-in-law. I expect an apology from you as well, I asserted. With reluctance, Jeff offered his apology. It became evident that President Bob had orchestrated this entire sequence of events with the intention of prompting Jeff to apologize to me. First, by revealing evidence of Jeff's infidelity to weaken him, then by highlighting my accomplishments to further diminish his standing and compel an apology. It seemed to be the president's calculated plan all along. Jeff's apology brought a sense of relief, leaving me feeling rejuvenated. As Jeff hung his head in defeat, the lawyer delved into the intricacies of the property division demand. Meanwhile, I took my leave from Bob, prepared to depart. Before parting ways, Bob urged me to maintain my support for the university. However, I hesitated, expressing my reservations about the university due to Jeff's behavior, along with personal matters demanding my attention. Promising to reconsider, I bid Bob farewell and left for the day. Arriving home, I recounted the Jeff saga to my husband Tom. He was well aware of my disdain for Jeff, and hearing about his apology, affair, and subsequent despair brought genuine joy to Tom's face. Yet a tinge of regret colored his expression as he remarked, "Man, I wish I could have witnessed his downfall. Still, this feels fantastic." Then, his tone shifted slightly, feigning frustration as he exclaimed, "Why didn't you snap a picture?" Our eyes met, and we both dissolved into laughter. But I had even more good news to share. "Guess what? It seems I'm pregnant," I revealed. Tom's joy erupted, celebrating as if he'd hit the jackpot. Lately, I'd been feeling under the weather, suspecting the cause, and a visit to the OB/GYN on my way home confirmed the pregnancy. I couldn't shake off a twinge of guilt for Bob, who had gone to great lengths to engineer Jeff's apology. However, I made the decision to suspend my collaboration with the university for the time being. While Bob expressed disappointment, he understood and agreed to wait until I finished focusing on child rearing. During our conversation, I casually inquired about Jeff's whereabouts. Bob informed me that Jeff, now officially divorced, was not only unemployed but also struggling to secure a new job. Despite his attempts to market himself to other universities, Jeff's reputation for arrogance preceded him, resulting in a lack of job offers. It seemed Jeff's hubris had backfired, with consequences far more significant than anticipated. Suddenly, I realized that the photos of the inexpensive wedding gifts we had repurposed as cat dishes had disappeared. Whether due to the use of cheap gifts or the couple's divorce, their images had vanished along with them.